Join me right now on Kumite TV is UFC lightweight John Makdessi. What's going on, John?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good, man. The first thing I want to get into is you do your training camp in Milwaukee, USA, but you're born and raised in Canada. Different environment, somewhat different cultures. Anything unusual you've noticed in your time, going to the States about American life?
Well, here, I mean, Wisconsin, Milwaukee has been it's a very interesting place. They're very grounded. Like it's very, it's a pretty cool place. I really it started to be my home. Like meaning, I come here training camp. It's a different mode. It's a different switch. So it's pretty interesting. Obviously I was born in Nova Scotia, Halifax. My parents came from Lebanon. I'm Lebanese oriented. Was raised and born in Canada. It's pretty funny. Mixed culture. I was raised with Italians. Back in Canada, went to school with mostly Italians, and I wasn't really raised traditionally. And now here I am. I found Milwaukee. Roufus Sports, and now this is like my second home. I'm here majority of the time in training camp. It's a pretty interesting life being an MMA fighter.
All right, let's talk about your UFC career so far. You made your debut 2010. You're a 15-fight veteran, which is amazing, phenomenal. What can you attribute your longevity to with the promotion?
Um, you know what? A lot of things is out of my control. I don't really try. I try not to overthink stuff in the sense of career-wise and how things played out for me. Uh, the facts are that I know the facts is being Canadian. Obviously, being with the UFC since 2010. I'm an exciting fighter. I keep it on the feet. I keep it exciting. So that I know I bring something different to the table versus other UFC fighters. You know, and that I fought tough opponents. I never really had easy fights in the UFC. Back coming from a traditional background, taekwondo, karate, kickboxing, transferring to mixed martial arts in my late 20s. So I'm a late bloomer. I feel like now in my 30s that everything takes time. You don't everyone's different, but things take time. To develop skills. Mentally, physically, get that octagon experience. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables, a lot of factors. So. I try to be smart. I'm not a party guy. I try to, I try to stay grounded. I'm very disciplined with my nutrition. I'm very into nutrition, fitness, healthy lifestyle. I do meditation. I do a lot of. I really try to take care of my body. I try to be smart with my training with my overall health, and I think that contributes to my longevity in the sport.
You're 33 years old now. You've been in the UFC for many years. Do you feel like you have been putting everything together throughout the years, and right now is the time where everything's coming together perfectly for you to make a run in the lightweight division?
I mean, there's a lot of things out of my control. Of course, as a human being, as a martial artist, we're very, we're very self-critical. Uh, Always trying to improve in different aspects of the game. So, of course, in my eyes, I'm always any fight. Any fight can be your last or your next fight to the title contention. In the past, it happened to me. Obviously, they gave me a 2 weeks notice when I fought Donald Cerrone. I'm hoping that giving good performances, with a good performance, maybe they'll give me a title contention or top 10 with at least a 6 week notice. You know what I mean? Versus 2 weeks notice.
Last December, you were supposed to be on the UFC 231 card versus Diego Ferreira. You pulled out due to a back injury. How was that recovery process?
Yeah, that's another thing. There's a lot of things out of my control. You train hard. We train. I push myself to the limits every day. I'm always trying to train more. I'm always trying to push my limits all the time, and my body broke. This is mixed martial arts. It's not just one discipline. boxers and kickboxers and other sports, they can focus on one skill. Us mixed martial artists, we're focusing on multiple skills. So the body takes, it's very hard to balance everything out. So the injury was great. The recovery was very, it was good because, I have to contribute to the recovery. I have to contribute to the UFC Institute in Las Vegas. They took care of me. I went there for rehabilitation. 1 week. At least now I'm well informed, meaning where it's a tool that I can use for rehab. Versus trying to find my own rehabilitation. So it's always good to go to Vegas and get rehabilitated and heal up, and then go back to training.
Now you're all healed up. You're set to face Nasrat Haqparast in Nashville, a former training partner. When you got the offer, initial reaction, since he's a fighter under Firas Zahabi.
Correct. Yeah. It was an interest. At first, it was very interesting. I'm so connected with Firas. We're good friends. I respect TriStar. TriStar was it was my platform. It got me to the UFC. So I'm always gonna have respect to TriStar and Firas Zahabi. It's business. It's not personal. He wasn't aware of it. The managers, his manager contacted my manager, and then the matchmaker Sean Shelby. So they accepted the fight first. So once they accepted the fight first, everything changed. You know what I mean? So at first I wasn't really. At first I communicated with my manager and Duke Roufus, my head trainer. They agreed that at this point in your career you have to pretty much accept all fights, and that's the goal. My goal is, to be the best. You got to beat the best, and in the UFC, you got to take whatever that comes your way. You don't really have, you're not picking or choosing.
It seems like this is something that is very common in the UFC nowadays, where they have veterans fighting the young up-and-coming guys. It's like a test for them, at the same time a test for you. When you break down your opponent, what challenges does he pose?
I mean, I don't take any of my opponents. If it's a newcomer, if it's a veteran, if anything, it doesn't really matter. Opponent is an opponent. Different looks, different body types. Southpaw, orthodox. I'm taking him very serious. I'm training very hard for this fight. So I don't. I'm well educated about his style. I know that he's a boxer. I know. He has that. He's young. He's gonna come up blazing. He has a lot to prove. So it's going to be an interesting fight.
You've been at Roufus Sport for a while now. What differences have you noticed in yourself since moving there?
Being here in Milwaukee under Duke Roufus and the Roufus team, it's very. He made it very, if you look at camps where if you travel around the world, like Thai camps, like high-level boxing camps and high-level Thai camps, he made it very structured. It's very structured. It's a team. Everybody's communicated from all the coaches, from from the trainers, from different types, like from the jiu-jitsu, from the wrestling to the striking, the training partners. It's well structured. It's well maintained, and it gives you that. It really gives you that, you're in a camp. You know what I mean? So I find it very, for a guy like me, you need structure. You need to be kind of understanding, how to. Everybody has to work together. It helps the process much better.
Speaking of everybody working together, Roufus Sport has so many fighters, that have fought in the past weeks and then have fights coming up. What is the environment like there, training with all these top-level athletes?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everybody has their own. Everybody's on their page. Everyone has their fight coming up. Everyone's training, so it's intense. Everybody's in different. Everyone's in different levels. Everybody is training harder. Preparing. So it's crazy. So you I'm training, getting ready for my fight. And then you see, you got Anthony Pettis training for his fight. You got another guy training for his fight. You got Emmanuel Sanchez training for his fight. You got another guy waiting to get a call. So it's crazy, It's really MMA is a crazy sport. It's unpredictable. It's a really interesting sport. You know.
You mentioned Emmanuel Sanchez and Anthony Pettis. Are you working closely with those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're my training partners. We work side. We're working together. We all have different opponents. We all have different strategies, different body types. So it's interesting, But we are training together. So it's good to see how everybody's kind of progressing. How everyone is evolving as a mixed martial artist.
When you look at Pettis, he's the former lightweight champ. Now he's moving up to welterweight. What's the difference when when you're training with him? Do you feel the difference?
Yeah, man, he's a strong, solid dude. He's obviously he's bigger. He's not cutting weight, so he's much thicker, and obviously he's eating bigger portions, so he doesn't have to stress on the body's not stressing on the small little meals and being very specific with the nutrition. So he seems to be happy that he's eating full meals and he's able to train the way he wants to train. He's still a big dude even for 170.
When you see him, eating big portions, do you feel like maybe my next fight I should go up to welterweight so I could eat those big portions also?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think so. I'm already a small lightweight, so I don't see myself getting to 170. But no, for sure. I mean, it's a part of the game, I'm getting used to it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't bother me at all.
Is there a different approach to your opponent, Nasrat, since he is a former training partner?
No, not really. Being a TriStar, it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time. I had a feeling that I was gonna fight a former TriStar guy. So, but a lot of these guys, they travel. They're not consistent in the same camp. Like a lot of these MMA fighters, they cross train, they jump from gym to gym. So it doesn't really matter. It's not. I'm a different breed. I'm a new evolved fighter. I'm not the same. I'm not the old John. I've been working a lot on. I've been working a lot on evolving as a fighter. I'm always learning new things every day. Every day I'm in the gym learning something new. So it's crazy, to think. People call me a veteran. I still feel there's a lot of things to learn. I'm always learning something, a new technique. So it's a beautiful thing. Mixed martial arts. In general, martial arts. I've been doing it since 6 years old. If you think about it, it's a crazy life journey.
Yeah, this mixed martial arts is so unpredictable. You mentioned earlier, and you have to take you have to take advantage of certain situations at certain times. The last couple of years, you've had your ups and downs. You've only fought twice in 2 years, and you've won both those fights. Has there been any frustration throughout the last 2 years of not being able to fight as much as you want?
No, not really. I mean, the goal for me is not really about quantity. It's about quality. The goal is to train. If you look at my past performances, it was pretty good performances. I try not to take any punishment. I don't. I fought two established names. So. For me, it's all about giving up. It's about performancing, to give a good fight, and to have longevity, and to be smart when to fight. Also, So
I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been asking you about GSP because he recently retired. But what I want to know is, you spent a lot of time with him at TriStar. I want to know, what is the funniest moment you remember being around GSP?
Funniest moment. It's hard to tell, It's been a while. It's been a few years, I've been training with him when I used to train with him. But the funniest moment, I don't know. It's his way of training was very intense. He had it was like a science project. It was very strategic, and he trained very hard for his fights. So, but the funniest moment, I really can't tell off my bat. I really can't.
All right, one last question before I let you go. Music is a big part of every athlete, most athletes, everybody around the world listens to different things. What is in your playlist? What artists are you listening to now during your training camp?
Yeah, I got a wide variation of playlists. It depends on my mood. I go from trance, from hip hop to rap to soul music to You know, I mean, it all depends. You know, I don't really. I don't. I'm a big. I like trance. I like alternative rock. So it all depends on how I feel.
Is there any artist that you can recommend to me or to your fans?
I don't really have an artist in mind particular, but I mean the top two guys that I always respect the most is always gonna be Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac.
All right. UFC on ESPN +6, Nashville, Tennessee. John, thank you for your time and good luck to you.
Thank you for your time, man. Thank you.